Hi viewers, welcome to today's episode of Euler Online Maths class. In today's video, we'll be talking about the roots of quadratic equation. It looks like I'm a bit in a rush, right? Because I just discussed about the quadratic formula, and here I am talking about the root of quadratic equation. I will have teach you guys how to use the factorization method, completing the square method, graphical method. Since I've already done the quadratic formula, I won't talk about that for now. So I will have done all of those before talking about this. But since I've already spoke about the quadratic formula, it's not of any crime if we just talk about this for now, right? So when we say the root of quadratic equation, the last video we made, we said we had a result for a certain quadratic equation, which was we said x squared plus 2x plus 1, we said is equals 0, right? Sorry, I like omitting one, right? So we said this is equal to 0, and we said the only solution to this is minus 1, right? There are conditions. If to say I change this to be minus 1, it will be a different case, right? Because I'm going to have two different results, minus 1 and 1. So, but for this very one, since we have just one result, x to be minus 1, if you remember, we said o minus 1, the same result. But you can see the plus or minus, that means I'm going to have two results. And this very answer for x that satisfies the equation is what we call the root of quadratic equation, right? So for the root, let me remind you of the formula. X is equal to, we said, minus b plus or minus the square root of what? B squared minus 4ac over 2a. That's the quadratic formula, right? So the root lies for between the two answers, the plus or minus, right? So how do we tackle that? How do we remove it? Because when we sum, look at something. When we sum the two results, sometimes I did mean this is negative. When I carry this to the other side, x plus 1, at the end, when I sum it, I'm going to have, if I sum the two results, I'll have positive 2. When I multiply, I have 1 on the other side, right? So that means I'll be summing, I'm going to have something like this, x to be minus b plus, for the first condition, right? Square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. That's for the other roots, which is the addition. X is equals minus b minus, for the other condition as well, because we said this is plus o minus. So this is square root of, we're having b squared minus 4ac. This is over 2a. So you can see that these are two different results for the root, right? So how will I differentiate between them? How will I know this is for addition, this is for subtraction? So for the sake of this video, I will denote that of addition by alpha, which I'll just write. I'll call this alpha. And for this very one of negative, I'll call it my beta, right? Isn't it? So for alpha and beta, and we said when you sum it, you have the number here, right? When you multiply, you have the extreme numbers. So the thing is, how will I get the sum of the root? When we say sum, look at how I'll denote it. When I say sum of roots, I'll be using letter S, which is equals what? Alpha plus beta. So how will you get the sum of the root directly from this point? Before doing this, let me remind you of something. We said quadratic equation is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c is equals 0, right? So the thing is, um, if I want to remove the coefficient of x squared here, that means I'll divide the whole equation by what? By a, right? If I do that, I'm going to have ax squared over a plus bx over a plus c over a is equals 0 over a, right? You can see that a will cancel a here. So I'll be left with x squared plus b over a x plus c over a is equals 0. So that means for me to get the number that is in between the extreme numbers, I'll be having b over a. And b is the number that is here, right? B over a will give me the number beside x, and c over a is the number at the end, right? So how will we arrive here? I know I'm talking about sum of root now. When I sum it, I'll arrive here. So the purpose of this video is to show you the formula we'll be using on how to rearrange things here to just get everything simple, right? So alpha plus beta is going to be what? I'll just be using s like I said. S is equals, what is alpha? This is alpha, right? This is minus b. This is plus square root of b squared minus 4ac. This is over 2a, right? But we said plus, I'm adding plus This is beta, right? I'll put it in the bracket because of the negative, right? Then I have minus b minus square root of b square minus 4ac, everything over 2a, right? So I'm summing the root s, alpha plus what? Beta. So let's see, what do we have here? S is equals, let's rearrange everything, minus b. You can see that the denominators is same. That means the LCM is going to be same as well, right? So the LCM, I will just use 2a. Forgive me, I'm skipping just one step. 2a into 2a, we have 1, right? 1 times the numerator is going to be minus b plus square root of b square minus 4ac, right? That's for this very point, right? Then I'm having plus, isn't it? Plus, but this is a minus, right? So it's going to be minus because of when they meet, right? This is minus what I'm having in here. Minus b minus square root of b square minus 4ac, right? I don't need to rewrite this because I've already picked one denominator because they are the same. So I'll just continue here. When you have this kind of situation, you should just, let's observe something here, right? You can see that this is positive square root of b square minus 4ac. This is negative b square minus 4ac, the square root, right? So that means this, since it's positive and this is negative, they can cancel out, right? So this is minus b minus b, which is going to be minus 2b. So I'm going to have my s is equals minus 2b over what? What do we have here? We have 2a. So that means this is over 2a. 2 can cancel 2. So I'm going to have my s to be minus b over a, right? That is going to be the sum of roots. So after talking about sum, I was also talking about product of the root. Let's just do it straight. When we say product, say product of roots. Product of roots, which I'll be denoting by P, is equals what? Alpha times beta, right? Alpha times beta means the product of the root. Remember, alpha and beta are the two roots I told you we got from plus or minus. So for the P, this is equals, what is alpha? Let me put it in the bracket. Alpha is minus b. This is plus square root of b square minus 4ac over what? 2a. That's just alpha alone. But remember, we are multiplying by what? We're multiplying by beta, right? So our beta is minus b. This is going to be minus square root of what? B square minus 4ac, everything over 2a, right? So we have this. The next thing is to just operate on the two bracket. So our p is equals. When you want to expand this kind of situation, you can see that I have plus and minus in between. So it's just in the form a, sorry, this is something as minus b. I will call the whole of this a. So plus a, this is minus b minus a. That's just the condition. You can see we have two different, let me just call them numbers because they can be numbers. When you have this kind of condition, is to multiply time, just take the first one, the second one, just expand the bracket, right? So minus b times minus b, because this is multiplication, right? Minus b times minus b is going to be b squared, positive, right? Because negative and negative will just cancel out, right? So I'm having b squared, but this time around I'll be taking minus b times minus square root of this. Minus and minus will make it a positive, which is positive. But this time around, b square root of what? I'll have what is inside, b squared minus 4ac. Let's forget the denominator for now, right? So I'm done with the first and the first and the second. I'll be going for the second with the first, just normal expansion of bracket. Positive square root of this times this is going to be negative of the initial result, right? Which is negative b square root of b square minus 4ac, right? That's, I've expanded this with this. The next one is to take the positive and the negative, but you can see they are the same, right? And let me just write something. This is going to be positive and negative. This is going to be negative, open bracket, just what is inside, b square minus 4ac. So in case you are confused about why I just substituted this number here, is the reason is, well, I've made the video on that because I've made a video on sort, right? And sort, I've explained all this kind of radical expansion, all these expressions like this, right? So just watch out the video to see how I arrived here, right? So this is going to be over everything over, right? Now the last thing is to check out the denominator. So checking out the denominator, 2a times 2a is going to be what? 4a squared. 4a squared, right? Because the denominator is just to multiply it directly. So p is equals, look at what I'll be doing here. Let's expand what we have in the numerator, because already before doing any other thing, this can cancel out, right? Because they are all, this is positive, this is negative, and b square root, the same thing. So they will cancel out. The next thing is to see b square, right? If this is gone, remaining minus. This is minus b square. If this minus affect everything here, right? Minus and minus is going to be a positive, which is plus, right? 4ac, right? That's just the last expression here, because minus b plus, because of the negative, 4ac, right? This is everything over 4a squared. But already looking at this, b cancels b, right? Because this is positive and negative, right? So what we are having here is going to be 4ac over 4a squared. I know clearly 4 cancels 4, a cancels one of the a's, remaining one, which we are going to have what? C over a. So that means the product of roots is always equal to c over a. The sum is always equals minus b over a. So the question now is, we were trying to write the expression in the form x squared plus, remember we said b over a, right? B over ax then plus c over a is equals 0. So how do you think we can rewrite the whole of this in this form? Like we should just substitute our s and p. How will we do that? The only way to do this is, I think, the only way to write this successfully is to write x squared. This is going to be x squared. When I insert minus here and I put s, right? Because s is minus b over a. So minus that I have in that s will affect the minus here. It will be positive, right? Then x will be here, because I said s has a minus. It's same thing. Then I will just say plus c over a. That's what we got, right? But c over a is p. So that means I can just put p here is equals 0. In short, it's just x squared minus sx plus p is equals 0. But remember, I said s is sum, p is product. So that's it. Now, the question you'll be asking yourself by now is, what will I be using this very thing we suffer to derive? The thing is, we use them to use the given root to get a quadratic equation. So in case you don't understand what I mean by what I just said now, watch out the next video I'll be doing on how to generate a quadratic equation from the given root. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.